Done properly, parenting is a heroic act. Done properly. Incredibles 2 is directed by Brad Bird and starring Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, Sarah Vowell, Huck Milner, Bob Odenkirk, Catherine Keener, and Samuel L. Jackson. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is the sequel to Incredibles, which came out way back in 2004. So if you are doing the math on that, that is 14 years. In this film, there is a bit of a role reversal happening. Whereas in the first film, Bob was the one who was going out, getting the job, providing for his family. Now it is Helen's turn to go out and not only provide for the family, but reprise her heroic role as Elastigirl. She is hired by Bob Odenkirk's character to be a hero, but not only just to be a hero, but to present a positive image of the hero in order to have heroes be reinstated back into society. Brad Bird was the original director of the first Incredibles movie. He is back once again to do the sequel, and I have to say his directing effort is absolutely fantastic. He is not only directed a great animated film, he has directed a great film in general. He understands superheroes, he also understands their dynamic within our world extremely well. And this film really does a deep dive into that, not only on an isolated level within the Parr family, but I think on a macro level within society in general within the Incredibles world. I have to also say that it is extremely technically well directed. You don't seem to hear a lot of great praise when it comes to directing of animated films, but there is a lot of things that go into it. Similar to the way you would shoot a live action movie, you have to set up all of the scenarios, set up all the shots, all the angles, all the technical aspects, and Brad Bird and his team do a fantastic job in that. And also the voice acting is directly on par, the same great way it was in the original film, and these characters are so rich and so involved, so you feel like you know these characters, and the film is dealing with a lot of interesting modern-day concepts within the Incredibles world, particularly when it comes to things like gender roles within our society. Like I said, the film is dealing with the parental role reversal of the mother becoming the main focal breadwinner of the family, while the father has to deal with a lot of the more typical female roles within the archetypical family. And this is something that is still being argued and dealt with within our society as well. And the film also deals with the role of heroes within our society. One of the main questions that have always come up in comic books and kind of superhero movies as well is, do we really need heroes within our society? Or are they more of a menace than they are a help? And also, what is their perception within our society? Are they viewed positively, are they viewed negatively, and why? Where I think the film falters slightly is when it falls back into more genre tropes that we see in a lot of superhero movies, particularly when we get to the last half of the second act and into the third act. We see a lot of things that we are very familiar with, especially if you're a fan of the superhero genre. While the film can be very dark and very serious, the film can also be extremely light and extremely fun. The baby character of Jack is so wonderfully delightful in this movie that he gives us so much levity in a movie dealing with a lot of dark and interesting themes, and it was a very welcome surprise for me because they could have hinged on the comedy within the Jack character too much to the point where it could have become overused and annoying, and I don't think that is at all. They used it so perfectly. So I'm going to give this film a 4.3 out of 5 stars. This is a great follow-up to the original film. It's a family film, it's a personal film, it's a film that blends the light parts with the dark parts, with the drama and the comedy. The voice acting is great, the action sequences are fun and entertaining, and where I think the film ultimately falters is some of its more generic genre plot elements that really dip the film a little bit, but not too much. I highly recommend this movie, especially if you are a fan of the first movie. You've been waiting a very long time for it. So this has been my review of Incredibles 2. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.